Good morning. Welcome to another episode of TC's Anything Goes. Today we are going to change the aircon compressor magnetic clutch. So let's get to it. Okay, so next up, we'll be removing the splash guard here as well as loosening this, I think they call it the banana cover. I think it's called the arch fender cover. Alright, so to remove all this, there's 3 clips here, another clip over here, and 2 more on this side that's out of, oh no, it's still within the frame. And then there's 2 more clips on the bottom, and we should have this loosened up and this removed. Okay, so there you have it. That's how we remove the splash guard as well as loosen the fender cover. So the aircon compressor is actually the unit. Let me see if I can get it here. It's a bit tight here for DSLR to actually enter, so yeah, bear with me. So it's actually this unit over here, and we'll be removing that shortly. Alright, so now that we have moved the fender cover up on top here, so we get more access to the aircon compressor, what we'll need is this, I'm not sure if you can see it. This is a C plier clip, it's an electronic clip. You'll be using this to remove a lot of C clips. You need a 14mm spanner and a hammer. Normally what people will do is that they'll use the air gun, I think it's called an air gun, or impact wrench. Put it over here and just push it out. Alright, I have that. I'll be using it to install it back, but to remove it, I'm just going to show you how easy it is actually. So there's actually 3 holes over here. Not sure if you can see, it's a bit dark. Alright, what you need to do is just align it to 2 of these holes here, just to hold it in place. Use a 14mm wrench. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna try something else. Just a minute. It actually helps if you have 3 hands actually, because you need to do a lot of things. So, yep. Put this in first. Secure this in place. Use a hammer, give it a tap. That should loosen it. Yes, that's loosened. Okay, you have the nut off. Just pull the clutch out. Okay, I'm going to reposition the camera so that we can see what I'm doing inside here after this. Okay, so what we need to remove is actually the C-clip over here. If you see, there's two holes. Alright, I've actually repositioned the camera plus some lights over here to see, but okay, we'll remove the C-clip first. Okay, so C-clip plier. Just got to position the thing right. Okay, so once we have that, what we are going to do is we are going to put a wedge here and slowly wedge this unit out. Alright, I'm going to do that off camera because I need more space here. Alright, so yeah, forgive the audio. To get the camera into the tight spot, I have to remove the microphone. So we basically just hammer out the pulley. Now this is the magnetic coil. We'll be removing this as well, and it's held on by C-clip inside, and then there's a cable on the top there. So I'll be doing this off camera as well. If possible, I would want it to be recorded, but the space is quite tight. Okay, so now that we have removed everything, let's have a look at the breakdown. Okay, so what we have, the first thing we need to remove is the nut. After we have removed the nut, this plate, this is the clutch plate, this just pops out, but you have to be careful because there's actually an O-ring at the back of it that's over here. Once we pop that out, there's a C-clip. Alright, this C-clip was fairly easy to take out with a C-clip plier that I have. Once that is removed, it was all about banging this. Alright, so to remove this, you see I actually damaged it a bit. Alright, because I hit it from the back with a piece of metal and a mallet. Alright, I did put WD-40, I did put a lot of things, but that's not helping. So yeah, I whacked it out. Alright, once we get that out, what we will have is the magnetic coil, but we can't just remove it like that. There was this C-clip that was inside, and let me tell you, it was very difficult because my C-clip plier doesn't reach all the way down. Alright, so yeah, what I did was I used the screwdriver and a bit of creativity. I move it from one side to the other because earlier it was on this side, which was on the front of the vehicle, so it was actually fairly blocked and the access is quite bad. So I jam screwdriver, then I slowly hit it all the way until it's on the inner side of the vehicle where I have more access. Then from there I use two screwdrivers and pry it open. Okay, so once that is done, this was the magnetic coil just pops out like that, and there's a connector here which you just need to pull it out, and that's it. We have got the whole thing out. Now let's do a comparison. Alright, let's start with the magnetic coil. Okay, besides being dirty, I don't see any difference or any noticeable worn on it, but we won't know on the inside how it is. Alright, okay, next up, which is the pulley. Let's have a look at the pulley. Okay, there's no considerable difference as well. Everything seems to be the same, except what I do notice, I'm not sure if you can pick it up, is that the thread or the rails on the inside here is a bit more worn compared to this. This is a bit better. Not sure if you can see it. Alright, on this portion here, okay, this is flat and you can feel the grooves of the clutch plate that was hitting it, so it's no longer flat and it's quite worn actually, so you can see that it is actually sunken in. Okay, so yeah, change the entire set. Alright, moving on. The clutch plate itself. Okay, besides dirty, let me just put this aside first. Alright, besides being dirty, let's see. Yes, there is a difference. This is thicker and the grooves are different. Okay, so on the new one, it sinks in on the black portion, which is supposedly on the middle here, but on the old one, the sinking in is on the side here where the clutch is supposed to be, and the inner part, which is supposed to sink down, is actually rising up. So this is quite worn. Yep, that's the difference. So we'll be assembling this. Basically it's about the same. I'll see if there's any difference and I'll record it, else it's just a reversal of how you install it. Alright guys, that's how we change the magnetic clutch for the aircon compressor on the Proton Inspira or Lancer 08 rebadged. So I've made a note about what I want to talk about, because somebody actually complained I do a lot of because that's when I'm thinking. So instead of that, I'm just going to put a note here. Alright, so first off, let's talk about cost. The cost of the item itself, the magnetic clutch. Alright, which is in three parts, which is the clutch, the pulley with the bearing, and the magnetic coil. All three together as a set is about 150 ringgit, which is about $37 US. This is what I would say pretty much good deal if you know what you're doing. Aircon compressor, a recon unit costs about 900 and a new one costs about couple of thousand ringgit Malaysia. So 900 ringgit is about, say, 200 plus USD. Yeah, 200 plus times 4. No, actually it's about 200. Yeah, 200 plus USD. And a new unit, it costs about 1,600 and above, depending on where you get it and whether or not is it original Mitsubishi or OEM brand. So it can go up to 3,000 ringgit. So yeah, if you know it's just a magnetic clutch, I know some shops will actually ask you to change the entire unit as a set, but I'm going to discuss with you on the symptoms that you may have. so that you know you don't waste too much money. Alright, so the symptoms that I was having is that the aircon still works. I start the car in the morning, aircon's perfectly cold. I start the car in the afternoon, aircon's perfectly cold. I start the car at night, perfectly cold. Only time when the magnetic clutch did not engage is when the weather is too hot or the engine is too hot. By hot, I mean normal operating temperature but slightly higher. Say for example, I am stuck in a traffic jam in the afternoon. There's no air flowing through. That's when the compressor gets a bit hotter than usual. That's when the magnetic clutch fails to engage. Now, I've read a bit, and seems like heat is one of the factor for the magnetic coil not to work properly. Moreover, this has been used for 8 years. As I show in the earlier part of the video, the clutch is much thinner. The clutch is much thinner compared to the new one. So the gap between the coil and the clutch is further. So what's happening is that as the coil is no longer as efficient, no longer as strong when it's hot, it is not able to pull the clutch in to engage the aircon compressor. Because this is thinner, it's further away. So yeah, I hope you get what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so of course I can just easily just remove the spacer that you see, small little spacer, and give it a little bit closer gap, but since I have it removed and I have the parts, I might as well just replace the whole thing, save more time. Okay, so let's talk about time taken. Okay, entire DIY took me about 3 hours. That's because this is my first time doing it. So there's a lot of things that I have to actually experiment. I have to make way so that I got more room to actually move my hands. But if you ask me to do it again, probably 1.5 hours is more than enough. It saves a lot of time if you have an air compressor with impact wrench. Okay, so let me get to that. This DIY might need special tools. Alright, mainly the impact wrench and also the C plier clip. I didn't bring it up here. Alright, but that is to remove the C clips. Okay, so those are the only 2 things that you might need to make things easier. Of course, if you don't have it, it's perfectly fine. You can do like how I remove the magnetic clutch, by using a hammer and a normal spanner. Yeah, and a normal spanner. Perfectly fine. You can do that. It's just a bit more difficult. Having an impact wrench is much easier. Now I'm using an impact wrench with an air compressor. I'm not too sure if those battery operated ones are strong enough, but you can give it a try if you want to. Alright, I guess that's all. That's all I have in my list here. Alright, so yeah, as usual, if you like this video, hit the like. If you dislike it, you can always hit that. Leave a comment on how we can improve. And please subscribe. Why? Because subscription makes me know that I'm not doing this like a madman alone with nobody out there looking at this. And if you think your friends can benefit from this, hit the share button as well. Thanks. Till next time.